Before we get into this episode of The Hassle of Hair, we want to give a big shout out to our sponsors. First up, we have Castro's Pool Service and Repair. If you guys need your guys' pool serviced, maintenance, clean, fixed, Castro's Pool Service and Repair is the place to go. Their phone number is 209-675-5418. That's 209-675-5418. Check them out today, guys. Support those that support us. I have a new sponsor, guys. Our new sponsor, before we get into the episode, our new sponsor is Fun Zone Head Shop, the best head shop in town, guys. They're located at 525 I Street. That's 525 I Street. Follow them on Instagram, Fun Zone Head Shop. Fun Zone Head Shop. And I'll have all the links for you guys below.
It's birthday!
I'm Jesse.
I'm Raquel.
This is The Hassle of Hair, a podcast.
Going after your dreams.
A podcast about going after your dreams.
Okay.
But no, it's a podcast about going after your dreams and finding your passion in life.
Yes.
And we're The Hassle of Hair.
For the Hassle of Hair?
We are The Hassle of Hair. Thanks for listening, guys. Love you.
The whole thing is I think people like to see how food is made. So we
Yeah.
try to kind of focus on the process and not just only like the end result too.
Yeah.
So you can see how stuff is being made and what it looks like and kind of all that. So
100%.
I want to teach people at the same time that we're feeding them, you know, so you can see it.
Well, that's kind of why I started this podcast, was to teach, not really teach people, but show people, because I'm interested too on how people start businesses, how people start ideas.
Right.
Like, but yeah, guys, welcome back to The Hassle of Hair. Today I have with me, I know his first name, but not his last name.
You want to take a stab at it?
I'm assuming it's something Italian.
It's Croatian, so it's close.
It's Croatian.
It's close. It's close. We're neighbors.
What's your last name?
It's Buktenica.
Buktenica.
Yeah.
So it's Jason Buktenica. He is the co-owner of Pasta 209.
Yep.
Not Italian 209.
Nope, not anymore. We changed it since the last episode.
But yes, so he's been in. How long have you been in Gustine now?
We just celebrated our 1 year about a month ago, so a little over a year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And since I posted you guys, a lot of people was like, "Where is that place? Where is that place?" And I tell them it's in Gustine, and then they tell me like Gustine.
Yeah, we'll spell it out. It's G-U-S.
But I really wanted to interview you because I want to know like how this happened, how this started, like Los Baños. Not Los Baños. The Central Valley, and this part of the Central Valley, not really known for Italian food.
Right.
And you're coming up with stuff that's like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So far what I've had.
I appreciate it.
Best pasta I've had ever.
Thank you, man.
Right? It's
Thank you.
it's neck and neck with the place in San Francisco.
Olive Garden?
No.
No.
No. It's another place that's homemade pasta, right? It's homemade. It's actually smaller than this, and they just make pasta all day. And you guys are right up there with them. They have a population of what? Millions?
Yeah, maybe
and
at least.
We have you guys have a population of like
5,000.
5,000. But my first question is like, where did you grow up?
I mean, that's a loaded question, honestly. How much time do you have? Originally, I was born in L.A., in Orange County. So I grew up in L.A. till I was like 10. And then my dad, he got a job in Kuwait right after the Gulf War. So I moved to Kuwait in 1992 when I was in 5th grade. I lived there from 5th to 8th grade in the Middle East. I moved to South Africa right after that for 2 years. And lived in I told you it was a loaded question. I lived overseas till like the middle of 10th grade, and then my dad's projects ended. We moved back to Southern California, and then I was living there until college. And it was work that brought me up to San Francisco when I was like 25 or 20, like 24, 25. Because I was working in the legal field. That's my background and my career. It's in legal before all this stuff. And I had come across a restaurant that was a Roman place in San Francisco, kind of right in downtown, about a block and a half from my office. And I fell in love with the food, and it was food I'd never had before. Like, I didn't grow up eating fancy food. I didn't grow up in like fancy restaurants and fine dining. Like, It was a normal middle class family, 3 older sisters. Like, my dad worked, my mom stayed at home, so it was like meatloaf and mashed potatoes.
You say
know?
normal.
Well, what I'm thinking growing up until, but as normal as it could be. It's my favorite reference, But we didn't eat like that, you know? So the food really fascinated me, just seeing the flavors and just what he was pulling out of like 4 or 5 ingredients, you know?
Yeah.
So at the time, I was working full-time in sales and living in San Francisco, but I wanted to understand this food. So I started pestering the chef to let me like come in and learn how to make his carbonara, because the carbonara was the thing for me that really like was out of this world.
Yeah.
So I pestered him for months. I started bringing him desserts. I started bringing clients there for lunches, like all kinds of stuff. And eventually he broke down after like a year and let me come into the kitchen and just apprentice and work for free and just like learn the food.
But
So
you were working.
I was,
in
but
law in law, right?
I was. So I was doing legal sales. I was living in San Francisco at the time. I didn't know anybody because I had just moved up, finished college. All my friends were down in Southern California, so I didn't really know anybody. So I was looking for something to do. And I'm sitting there watching Top Chef in the hotel for like 2 weeks, figuring out if I want to go up there and just thinking about how am I going to use my time, you know? But San Francisco is such a foodie city, and it's so like into that. That's kind of the vibe everywhere. I just had thankfully gotten exposed to this place through one of my clients, and we went to the soft opening of the restaurant, and I had a meal like I've never had in my life, right? But it was all this stuff, right? It started with the carbonara, and I make it exactly the same way that the chef taught me and how he made it in his restaurant.
Before you move on,
Yeah.
carbonara. I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
Yeah.
I was calling it a carbarone.
Yeah.
Carbonara.
The carbonara,
It
yeah.
has like, they're not bacon bits, right?
It's pancetta. So
Pancetta.
so basically it's from the pork belly, which is where you're going to get bacon from.
Yeah.
It's same part of the pig, right? But it's a different process in terms of the curing, in terms of how it's dried, how it's spiced, and just how it's kind of treated in order to get the pancetta.
Yeah.
So it's not ultra traditional to make the dish that way. If you want to go like super heart of Rome to the heart of this cuisine, you would use guanciale, which is the jowls, the cheeks.
Yeah.
But it's an acceptable substitute in Italy to use pancetta. But it's like heresy to use bacon. You would never see like bacon out there. It's just not done.
But I've had the carbonara. I've had that, and that was like, to me, that was mind blowing to me. Like it just like it was a different flavor. Even the meat was a different flavor.
Right.
And it was super good.
Right. But see, that was my experience. And when I went to this restaurant for the first time, that was what it tasted like for me. And I was fascinated by it. And I had to learn how to make it, you know? So for me now to be able to take what I learned from him and feed you and other people that are coming in this stuff, the real, true, authentic, the history. These are hundreds, if not thousands of years old, these recipes.
Yeah.
And they're not changed. Like in Italy, carbonara, it is one way. You don't change the recipe. Same with amatriciana, same with the cacio e pepe. It is done one way. Yeah. And this is the thing. Like in Italy, you make carbonara with egg, with pepper, with pancetta, and with pasta water. That's it. There's no cream. If there's cream, it's not carbonara.
Yeah.
If there's peas, if there's bacon, it's not carbonara. It's something different, right?
Yeah.
It's because these were rooted. This was the food of the people. That's why I'm so passionate about this food, okay? It's the food of the people. Like, this was peasant food. This was the leftovers from, like, the lords, the kings. It was all the scraps and, like, the crap food. That's why it's the cheeks and the belly and all the choice cuts that went to the lords, the loins, all that stuff, right? So they made 4 of these iconic dishes, those top 4 on the left. Those are Roman dishes you would find in any cafe, anywhere in Rome that you would walk on the street, you would see any one of those in there.
Yeah.
And they're dishes that have a history that goes back into the Middle Ages, maybe even before. And they've been made this way for dozens of generations. So I want to honor that. I want to pay homage to that history, to the food. So that's where, when we started doing this, the most important thing to me was making the pasta. And it was making it authentic. There's lots of places you can go and get Italian-American pasta. Pretty much anywhere you go to around here, you're going to find that, right? But nobody's making it.
Yeah.
And nobody's importing the flour to make it. Nobody's doing it with the Italian pasta machines. Nobody's using the dough maker that I have from Europe, the spiral mixer, to make the focaccia just perfect. Like, I have machines in the back dedicated for just one purpose and one job, because I want every single little detail to be just right.
Yeah.
You know, I want to share this with people, like what's really Italian food, like true Italian cuisine. You know,
And there's a lot of passion coming out of you when you talk about it. And you're not Italian.
I'm Croatian,
you're
but we
Croatian.
grew up eating all this stuff. But
Yeah.
for me, I think it was more my mentor and the inspiration I got from him. And Rome, it's like the Texas of Italy. They'll tell you they're Roman like before they're Italian. You know, like they're super proud of where they come from. And these dishes are a huge part of the fabric of that, of culture and who they are. food is everything in Rome and in Italy and Croatia. It's similar. It's a similar mindset. It's a similar type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
We're just in the ocean.
And you talk about your mentor. You going into this, you had no chef background or no cooking background.
Not formal, no.
Yeah, and so you were just in. How long were you in that kitchen for?
Well,
Just being mentored.
I learned from him for probably like 2 months solid being in there. But my brain, like, I can replicate stuff really, really easily for whatever reason. It's a strength that I have. So being able to see it and then kind of being taught how it was done, I just started wanting to perfect it, and I was making it. And I started cooking a lot for my legal clients, doing happy hours for like 40, 50 people at the time and catering. So I was practicing, and I was cooking all the time. So I didn't have a formal training, but I knew what I wanted to learn, and I knew what I wanted to do. So I just set out over the last 10, 15 years to just do it for my family and for friends and whatever. But it was when COVID hit that my legal business that I'd been building for like 12 years shut down overnight. And I'm a single dad and taking care of my daughter, and like my girlfriend and I, we don't live together, but you know, our families and stuff, we're all intertwined, whatever. But it was hard. I still had to pay all my bills and my house payment and everything else, and but my income was gone like overnight. So this is where this whole restaurant and the whole thing came out of, was really survival at the time, but also deciding to take the risk and do the thing I've always been most passionate about, and the thing everybody told me I should be doing, which was cooking and being in the kitchen and whatever. And I'm so freaking happy I did it, dude.
What was that life like? And I'm not really familiar on what you did in law, but what was that life like having your other business in law? Were you happy? Did you love it as happy as you are now?
No, like most people when you're young, like in my early 20s, I was chasing money and fame or success, power, whatever. Like I thought I was gonna be some cool little James Bond type hopping around the world with like whatever, you know. But things come crashing back to life when you have kids and obligations and, you know, things like that. So it was really more paying the bills. I look back at it now and I call it like easy money. I was running a court reporting agency and basically acting as a middleman, setting up independent contractors with law firms and handling depositions and stuff like that. Nothing interesting, nothing like fancy, but it was great money. It's a great field to work in financially, but attorneys on the whole are really difficult to deal with and fairly like miserable towards other people. So it got old after a while. And also attorneys are notorious for not wanting to pay bills and always wanting to like seriously, they are literally the worst at like sexual harassment, not paying bills, like everything that is like written into the law. Like they're the worst, I'm telling you. At least in San Francisco, it was wild. But it got old a long time ago. I was always looking for that bridge out, but I didn't know really what it was going to be. When my girlfriend and I decided to finally do this during COVID, it was like, it was a really pivotal thing for me to do it.
You can walk across. It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
You can walk across your fine.
I'm so sorry.
Is this a customer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're open right now.
Okay.
Sorry, what were we talking about?
You're talking about sorry
It's
about
my
that.
life. What's it called? I forgot what we were talking about.
Going from
making the transition. So I was looking for a way out. So in a way, COVID kind of helped me pull the plug, because I don't know if I would have killed my baby myself. But when I had the chance to do this, I essentially had to choose if I wanted to do this full time and take that risk and build the restaurant, because I was doing it just kind of out of the house and out of a commissary and just trying to build the social media, see if people were interested out here, you know? But I've lived in Newman for a number of years, and there's no food out here, like, at all. It's a total food desert. So I thought, what would be cooler than bringing super authentic Italian food and this, like, Bay Area kind of quality, like, I wanted to really bring that type of food here into the valley, into my community, you know? It would have been easy to do it in Turlock or Modesto and been really successful out of the gate, but I wanted to do it here where we don't have, for people that wouldn't normally get this kind of experience unless they were traveling 2 hours away or whatever it was.
Do you feel like it was because it was not only like because you want to do it, because you want to bring the food here, do you feel like because it's cheaper out here, like to get the rent and all that stuff, you were able to put more passion into the little things. Like I come in and I walk in here, and it's you could tell that you guys care.
Yeah.
Right. There's so much put into the building and how you guys set your guys' self up, your social media.
Right.
Was it being cheaper out here, being able to focus on the other stuff? Did that help?
I think so. I mean, that's the business side of it, obviously, you know, and I have that business background. It's not by far the first business I've ever started, but it's definitely the most difficult and most detailed. It's extremely difficult to start and run a restaurant. Like, I don't recommend to anyone that doesn't have the stomach for, like, just emotional swings and, like, risk tolerance, and it's hard. But between Amina and I, my girlfriend, we put up all the finishes on the walls. We painted everything. We put every piece of equipment in one by one. We were taping on the floors. Like, there was a specific way we wanted this to be. So being able to have the lower rent and less pressure, I think, was huge in terms of allowing us to be creative and to go outside of the box and try some different things and take risks with the food as well now. Also, because it translates into the bread bowls and a lot of the other things that we're doing now that have come about because of having that ability to be creative, take those risks, and not having the pressure of a $10,000-$20,000 rent like over our heads, you know?
Take me through the bread bowl. Like, I'm really interested in that. That's not a Roman. That's not a traditional Roman.
That's fat kid food. That's just stuff I like to eat that I thought sounded cool one day. Some of these dishes, and honestly, some of the more popular ones on the menu just came from days being slower and just wanting something to do and just having an idea and trying it out, and it worked, and then just refining it, you know? The bread bowls were one of those things. I was looking at a post online, and I had seen somebody, I think in Walnut Creek, they were doing it was like a cone, like a bread cone almost, and it had like pasta in it, and it had cheese, and they're eating it, but the thing looked like, my God, you're going to have it all over yourself by the time you're done. Like, where's the bib when I want to eat this, right? Yeah. So I thought, how could I take, like, a different vehicle to hold this and do it, you know? So that's when I thought if we could do the bread bowls. And, you know, you get the soups in the bread bowls, and that's cool. My daughter, like, really loves those. But I thought, well, what if we do it with the pasta? So I just did it one day. They baked fine, which was cool. Like, I wasn't sure if it was going to rise and bake properly, but everything was good. And then I just said, screw it, let's throw some spaghetti and meatballs in there and throw some cheese on top and bacon, and let's see. Yeah. And it came out, and it was really good. And so we started with that one and just wanted to see, like, if people were going to order it and how it was going to be received. And it was pretty popular right out of the gate. So after about, like, a month of that one, we expanded it to the whole menu and all the pastas. And then it was cool, like, just seeing all the different things people were ordering and, like, the reactions from people. Because the one that when people would order the lasagna one, it was always like, can I get the lasagna in a bread bowl? Yeah. It's like always like a guilty pleasure for people to get the lasagna. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. And then we'll get so excited.
It's so heavy.
Yeah, well, yeah. And it's so rich and decadent already, putting even more cheese on top. It's wild. But, hey, I'm not going to judge.
And but, I'm not going to lie. Like, after eating that, me and my buddy called each other because we came here, we got the bread bowls. We didn't eat for like a day and a half.
Yeah, I know it's a lot. It's food coma for sure.
So like if you're going on a long trip or something and you need something that's gonna fill you up.
Well, it's carbo loading. Yeah. Right. So you should do this if you're fighting somebody. You know, give to the other fighter so that they have it the day before, and then they'll be nice and sluggish for the match. It'll be good.
And it's really like I really love, like, this is a place where it's like a cheat day, right? I mean, you're not going to come here I probably come here every day if my wife let me. But it's like, you look at all the, like, we don't have those places in the Central Valley, in this area of the Central Valley, right? Gustine, Santa Nala, Los Baños. Like, we have mom and pop shops, but we don't have those guilty pleasures. Right. In San Francisco and San Jose, they have those things. Right. This is it. Like, that bread bowl is a guilty pleasure. Like, let's go ham with it. You know? Right.
But that was the idea, you know? Yeah. And I'm one of those people, when I travel, I want to base the whole trip around food. And there's, like, specific places I want to go because I've seen it online or I've seen it, like, in a video or whatever. So I'll travel and go out of my way just for that spot. So the bread bowl was kind of that thing to, like, hopefully get people to travel in to give us a try. and just to taste what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Because I hear handmade pasta or fresh pasta, and I'm like, yeah, all right, cool, whatever, you know. But when you actually taste it, you understand what's special about it because it's a different texture.
Yes.
It's a different flavor. It's a completely different animal than the box stuff that we buy in the store. There's a reason why we kill ourselves making it literally all day long, because the quality of it is so much different than what you're buying. And then with the sauces and the other stuff, like, we just want it to be an experience when you come in here and you're like, damn, that was sick. Like, that was worth driving to try that. You know, so if we can accomplish that, or I can get somebody introduced to a new type of dish like a carbonara or an amatriciana or something like that, then I'm doing my job. I'm exposing you to this culture, to this food, and then hopefully you're having a great experience and maybe telling somebody else about it that might come in and try it. And, you know, that's how we grow. So,
and it's funny because I have 3 spots that I travel to, and I have a birthday spot. Like I have my birthday spot is I forgot, Phil's Fish Market.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
and Moss Landing.
Yeah.
And I go there for one specific dish, right? But then my family goes there and they get everything else.
Yeah.
Because of that one dish, they're trying everything else. And
Right.
it's the same thing, kind of like, I guess what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Is the bread bowl. They're going for that specific dish, and then they're getting to see what else there is.
Right.
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 And you see it through your passion.
We're trying to do a mixture here. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's super authentic you'll find in Italy. There's some stuff we're just creating on our own. And there's some stuff that's kind of your traditional Italian American, like your spaghetti and meatballs and your fettuccine alfredo, you know?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, everything that this place is team, and it's the guys that are cooking this stuff. Like, I had this idea. I started the ball rolling with this. But realistically, without my girlfriend quitting her job, believing in me, like
That's huge.
pushing my ass, like
Yeah.
keeping standards high, like everything was Amina. Like, literally everything was Amina in the beginning. And without her and driving that, like, this never would have got there. And then without Hernan and Gael in the kitchen, like, without our girls working up front, and Jahad and Asma and Iman bringing them in, like, it's all family. It's all like, it's coming to work and just chilling and enjoying who you're being around, but then also putting out hopefully some badass food for everybody to enjoy at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's the vibe that we're trying to have in here. You know what I mean?
And it's I played sports my whole entire life, like from a kid to now, and it's a team atmospheres, and you realize team atmospheres are in everything.
Yeah.
You have to be a very good team to get stuff done.
Right.
Something like this. If
100%.
so and so is falling off and slacking, then this is not going to work, and then you end up being hindered because he's not working or she's not working.
Right.
And so that's probably the hardest thing is finding that right team.
It's not though,
It's
bro.
only been a year.
Well, for everywhere, yeah. But
Yeah.
for us, that's the biggest blessing we have, honestly.
Yeah.
We all work the same shift. We're all here 12, 13 hours a day. We can all interchange with each other. Like, no matter what it is, we're all cross-trained. We can all make everything. We can all do everything. So it's just a dance for us to get everything done. And if somebody needs to go and take care of something or pick up the kids or whatever, like, we cover each other, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that it's more than just work for us. We're here like 55% of our day, 5 days a week, is here in this place. And the rest of the time is filled with sleep, family, hobbies, bills, and everything else. So if we're spending that much time here, I want it to be a happy place where everybody is at and everybody's enjoying it, you know? We get out of here, we go home, we hop on Fortnite, we play that for a couple hours. Like, we're always doing something. But going back to team, you know, same here. I played sports ever since I was 4 or 5 years old. Like,
Yeah.
I'm hyper competitive with that stuff. But for me, if you wanna coach like a fighter, right? It'd be smart if you were a fighter yourself, right?
Yes.
If you knew how to grapple, if you
Yes.
knew how to wrestle, if you knew how to punch,
Yes.
how to do if you know all those things yourself, you can teach it, right? It's no different in a restaurant. There's some days I'm janitor. There's some days that I'm chef. There's some days that I'm picking up supplies. But at the end of the day, you fit into the spot you need to so that you can support your team, so you can train your team, and you got to be alongside them doing it, right?
Yeah.
I never wanted to be one of those guys that was like, do this, do this, do that, and then just sitting back and watching.
But that's a true leader.
I don't know what it is,
Yeah,
but
that's
it's not the way I roll. Like,
Yeah.
I want us all rolling together,
not the one that you just said,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yourself, you being the one to do everything, right? That's a true leader.
Well-
That's a sign of a leader, somebody that does everything that they tell other people to do. Right?
Well, you shouldn't tell somebody to do something you're not willing to do yourself, right? I mean, at the end of the day.
And a few more questions, because I
Yeah.
know you guys are starting to open up
Yeah.
and stuff. But so, like, are there any mistakes, like looking back it's been a year, right? It's been a year, and you guys are doing awesome, right? But are there any mistakes looking back that you when you first started that you would go back and change those mistakes?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's a million of them.
Any big ones, especially because for entrepreneurs starting to get into the
all
game.
right, let me tell you about our very first day in the restaurant, okay? And that's probably enough.
Yeah.
Like, there's plenty of other ones, but our very first day, obviously we'd been building this and promoting it and, pumping it up for weeks and months before it happened. We had prepped for 2 days. We opened on a Friday. We're going to be open that Friday and a Saturday. We had I think 40 or 50 pounds of pasta in the back that we had made. Everything was prepped for 2 days. We'd been prepping for 3 days prior for the event. We opened that day only from 5 to 8. And from 5 to 8 o'clock, when it was 108 degrees outside, we had a line around the corner that was never ending the entire time. And I sold out of 2 days. We literally did not have a salad. We did not have a pasta noodle. We did not have anything left. Every single item was gone in those 3 hours when we first opened. I had nothing for the next day. We closed at 8. We didn't finish cleaning until midnight because we didn't have a dishwasher or really much staff. It was just mainly 4 of us trying to serve everybody, dude. We got so run down from it and so stressed. We're all sitting there looking at each other what do we just decide to do right now? We end up coming down with COVID the next week
Snap.
because the stress was so heavy and we were pushing so hard trying to get back in. So after months and months of building and opening this place, we went so hard when we opened that we had to shut down for 2 weeks because we had COVID, and then basically try and get everybody coming back in and starting again and going, But staff, it was so hard in the beginning because we were super busy being new. But we didn't really have the full team that we do now, and nobody was trained to make the food but me. And so I lost 30 pounds, I think, in about a month and a half just from heat and not eating and stress and everything else. It was like wrestling all over again, man. It was interesting.
Even though you prepped, beforehand, you kind of just winged it.
We didn't know. we never opened a restaurant before, bro. I didn't know if people were going to show up or what the flow was going to be or what, but it was crazy. That day, I think, still is one of our top 3 biggest days that we've ever had, from 3 hours. It was nuts. But
that's crazy.
We were really stoked that people cared that much to come down and were waiting in the heat. But the funny thing that happened that day, so it's we open at 5. It's probably about 6:45, right? And inadvertently, we had shut off the pasta machine on accident right here, right? So we had to stop making pasta for a good 40 minutes while everybody was here waiting while we were getting a pot on the stove. Come to find out, we had accidentally set off our closed loop on our hood, which had shut down the pasta machine, but we didn't realize it. So it was as easy as just pressing a button and it would have turned back on. But we didn't really know the equipment that well at the time. So for us, it ended up being a big snafu in the day. But yeah, the first day, there's a million things that went wrong that I would change now. But how do you know,
And I was just talking about failure and really thinking about it. That's part of the process. Failure.
You shouldn't be afraid of it, dude.
Yeah, and then once you make those mistakes, you probably always check that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it turned off.
Well, yeah.
You probably always check it now, right?
How are you when you really mess something up and you screw the pooch? What's your mentality about it? You want to kill until you get it right.
Yeah.
You're raw, gung ho, right?
Yeah.
I'm like that. I'm competitive. If I make that mistake, it's a good thing sometimes because I really want to overcorrect to make sure that I don't do that thing again. So we make mistakes every week, literally. There's days I walk in, I've got a bad attitude, something happened in the morning or something in the afternoon. When you're always on display and you're always in the front, you can't hide from it when you're not feeling good or, So it's tough sometimes, but that's the job and that's what we do, and you have to get past it and figure it out. But we're always making mistakes.
Cool.
But mistakes are what we learn from, isn't it?
Yes.
You
100%.
can go out 10 times and succeed. You fail once, you're going to learn so much more if you want to from that failure, and it'll drive you. At least for me, it drives me. Like,
And this is kind of a side question I didn't even write down, but like, did you grow up like that? Were your parents strict? Were they hard on you, or did they allow you to make these mistakes growing up?
honestly, like as young as I can remember, I was always my own person that wanted to do everything like my own way. I was the youngest in the family. I had 3 older sisters that were quite a bit older, so I kind of saw how my parents like treated them.
Yeah.
And it was a strict house. Like, we all had chores. You couldn't go out till stuff was done. Like, you didn't talk back. Like, there was definitely like a lot of respect in the house. And my dad was military background, my grandpa, stuff like that. So you didn't get out of line. But at the same time, my parents were open and they were like loving and cool, and like they were available. So I kind of got both, I think. But I think it was moving around so much as a kid, from country to country, and like losing friends and having to start over. I just kind of got in this mindset that I had to learn how to do this, and I had to become comfortable with this, and I needed to make my own way in life, because I didn't want to be like pinballed back and forth for the rest of my life. So early on, I kind of made a conscious decision that I wanted to take control, and I wanted to dictate what that was going to be.
Yeah,
because I felt so out of control, I think, as a kid,
But you could feel it even when you walk in and when you talk to you. You're very, like, you're assertive. Not assertive.
I know what I
that's the wrong
want.
word. Like,
Yeah.
Like you're real.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, at the end of the day, I can't hide my emotions. If I like you or don't like you, if I want to help you or not help you, and that's where I'm saying it's hard sometimes, like with certain personalities, like you have to be cool with everybody. You know what I mean? And so I've had to really learn how to temper that and how to be less real, I guess, sometimes. But at the end of the day, like, customers, they have requests, they want to do stuff, or they want to put some silly things together. Like, I'm not afraid to tell you that's not going to work and it's not going to be good. I would recommend that you do like this. But that's how I want to live my life. Like, I'm intentional. Everything that I do, it's intentional. How I raise my daughter, how I run my business, how my relationship is, my friendships, like everything about it has intention. And what I'm hoping is people are gaining something from that, and that I'm not always taking, and that there's some give in there, Like, that's important to me at this point in my life.
I 100% relate with that.
And
that kind of, that for me, what you saying, being intentional, for me, that really puts into play of how I am too, or how it makes me understand how I am too.
Right.
Before, I used to think that being intentional, what you're saying, and having a purpose and sometimes it's a little, you're too much sometimes.
It's intense. Like, for some people, it's really intense. And I've been accused of being too intense, like, all my life. But it's who I am. It's how I'm wired, and good and bad. There's people that love me, and there's plenty of people that hate me, But at the end of the day, they're all going to remember me. I want to leave an impact, and hopefully it's a positive one, But I spent a lot of my youth just being stupid and raising hell and getting in trouble and just being like angry, I want to spend my adulthood being productive and helpful and growing and building, not like tearing down and being destructive like I was when I was younger. You know what I mean? I'm in a different place, and older, wiser, hopefully.
Now that you're talking about what you want to do, where do you see Pasta 209 5 years from now?
I have no idea. I don't even think that far out, bro. 5 months is where I work in my brain.
Is there a big goal?
Too much changes. The big goal for me is to get these guys out into their own locations. My chefs, they're super talented, and they would thrive and do really well, like in their own locations. I'd like to branch this out into some different places. We'd like to grow it into a bigger market, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at the moment. We're always looking for opportunities to expand and to grow, but for me, it's super important to still make that time for my daughter and for family and my relationship. And I'm not going to put myself in a position where work takes over everything and everything else falls by the wayside, because as much as I love this and as passionate as I am about it, I'd give it all up tomorrow if I had to for something more important.
And that's something I struggle with too. How do you balance that? How do you balance the having a good work ethic but then taking the time to be a father, be a good boyfriend, be like...
You have to compartmentalize, and I think you have to realize that at the end of the day, I need a certain amount of time for me, in the day and in the week, right?
Yeah.
But I've learned how to whittle it down to where, like, I get home and there's a certain routine where I can unwind. But while I'm unwinding, like, I can still spend that time with my daughter. I can still help her with her homework. I can still, like, get all this stuff done. But when work closes on Saturday and we're off Sunday, Monday, I'm not taking calls. I'm not answering emails. I'm not doing anything work-related.
Yeah.
It is all my baby, and it's all family and whatever else is going on. Like, as soon as I'm out of here, that's it.
Yeah.
Now, there's times I want to be working on stuff. I'm making stickers or whatever, but that's my choice. And that's just trying to get ahead and trying to, be on top of it. But that's when she's asleep or she's off playing Roblox or whatever it is, But I try to always remind myself of what's most important to me. And just the stuff I've been through in life and the things that matter, like, this is my place to have fun and be creative at the end of the day. It's my playground. I worked hard enough in my life to figure out how to make it a business and how to get paid while I'm doing it. But that came from millions of mistakes and living out of my car for periods of time and buddies' couches and having the Wendy's dollar menu. And I was a poor college student. I made every mistake in the book. Like, this wasn't always my life. For most of my life, this wasn't my life. And it's still a struggle every day to a degree. But I'm doing what makes me happy. I'm doing it with people that make me happy. And at the end of the day, I feel like we're putting out a product that's unique, that's interesting. And hopefully people want to come in and try it out and experience it.
Yeah. I'm going to have to backtrack.
Yeah.
You're living out of your car?
Bro, it would take so long to get into the background of my life and my stories and all of this. But yeah, for periods of time in my early 20s, I mean, I was going to school. I was working 2 jobs. I got in between, apartments and places, and stuff happens. And it was hard. I was selling stuff door to door for 10 months all across the country for a period of time, doing sales, selling Disney books and flying monkeys and tabletop fountains and all kinds of stuff. I mean, I did sales training. I've done all kinds. But,
That's wild. All right, I got one last question for you, and it's it's a deep question, but I think every business owner, entrepreneur, someone going after something great, they always ask themselves. They have to. You better ask this question. What's your why? Why do you wake up every morning, come to the Pasta 209 in Gustine, and strive to make your business better, strive to make pasta for people?
It's twofold. Part of it, number one, is my competitiveness and my drive to really be the best at everything that I do, and I want to build something special and unique that is unlike anything else. That's just how I'm wired. That's what makes me happy from a business and a practical side. From an emotional, like, personal side, it's more, I think, honoring my father. My dad, when I was 18, came down with Alzheimer's, and my parents moved away to Arizona. That's when I started living on my sister's couch for 2 years. I was going to...
You lived everywhere.
Well, bro, I was still in SoCal. I was living on my sister's couch, going through an honors program at junior college because I was paying my way through school. Like, I didn't have any scholarships or anything like that. Working 2 jobs, living on her couch, and my dad got sick, and he passed away, a number of years ago. And my dad was always like that hole in the wall finder.
Yeah.
He always knew where, like, the best burrito was at, the best burger.
So he was a foodie.
Dude, my dad was a foodie before being a foodie was even, like, a thing, right?
Yeah.
But he was from the Midwest. Like, he was meat and potatoes kind of a guy. So
You're good.
he always knew the good spots to get, like, something good for your belly. You know what I mean? And my dad, being from Chicago, like, the beef dip sandwich that I make here, like, every time that I look at that and make it, it reminds me of my dad because it's something that he would have wanted to eat,
Yeah.
My dad was horrible in the kitchen. Horrible cook. There's so many stories I could tell you.
There's a
But
reason why
he
he's a
loved to
foodie.
eat. My mom was the cook,
Yeah.
not my dad. But my dad he was a freaking badass. Like, he would just make people light up when he went into the room, and People never would say bad things about him. He was always giving of his time. He was always with us. He was never off like grabbing a drink on the way home from work or whatever. It was either he was working or he was family, you know. And I always strive to carry that on and just to honor him, you know. So for me, this place is a way to prove to myself a lot of things, but it's also a way to honor my dad, to honor the chef that taught me this, to honor my girlfriend that sacrificed so much, to honor these guys that work with me, the girls that work with me, that give up their time every day. Like, this was just an idea I had sitting in my bed because I needed a job, bro.
Yeah.
It came from just talking to my mom's one day about something she saw on TV, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do Uber Eats out here. And then I'm like, nah, I'm going to make the food.
Yeah.
And then Uber Eats it. And then I was like, no, let's just build a whole flipping restaurant. Why not, right? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm happy I'm here.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got here, but I'm happy I'm here. It's a good place.
It's your work ethic, your passion, the fact that you're so passionate about, even you're just saying your why. Like, I think that's what makes you different from other people. Mm-hmm. I've been in some small businesses, small restaurants where you walk in and they're just not in touch of why they wake up every morning.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they're just like, let me get up, let me go do the routine.
Because it can get so old and the days are so long. Yeah. No, seriously. Yeah. Like, by Saturday, I feel like all week I've been in a fight, like, nonstop, just taking body blows. Like, I'm dead by Saturday night. I'm so tired. Yeah. Most of the time, I just pass out on my bed for 2 hours until I run to get food for me and my daughter. And, like, you know, it's a lot. But you have to, I think, really love the whole process. And I think it's why we make it all from scratch. It's why we make it all every day. Like, it keeps us engaged, and it keeps us wanting to keep pushing and getting more creative and doing the next thing, you know? And I want you to discover something new that you haven't had, you know? Give you a reason to come back and try something new, you know? That's the whole goal here, so.
I'll make sure to try you said the beef dip sandwich?
Yeah, that's a good one. But I got something, Roman street food I'm working on right now that nobody's heard of. That's going to be a brand new item coming up. That's what you want to try, dude. That's what you want. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
The winter is coming.
I've been waiting for the weather to break so that we can start doing some heavier dishes. Just because it's been so hot, you know.
Yeah, people don't realize it's in Gustin and Los Baños. It's like 110. It's just too much.
Right.
Like, I don't know how people drink. There's people that eat soup. Like, it's like, what?
Well, and speaking of, I had just got all the stuff to start making like chowders and all my soups for like fall because I've been like trying to break the weather. And then we have our record heat, of course, like the week that I want to do it. So I'm going to just hold off for a little bit.
And so you sit down and you really like, okay, is it just you sitting down? Like, what dishes do I want? What do I want to make?
I mean, it's more just what I get inspired by and what I see. Like, if I'm at the market or there's something or I see something on TV or in a magazine or like whatever. It's just about being inspired by ingredients, I think. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say Italian food is not so much about like having a million things on the plate as it is just quality of ingredients and being inspired by what's fresh and what's available, you know?
Where does that creativity comes from? Because I'm really...
I don't know.
Mind-boggled that you started in law.
I don't know. Well, I mean, even in law, I was getting clients by cooking and making cupcakes and doing creative things, stuff I wanted to do. I just was fitting it into that schema, you know, into law. I've always been creative. I've always had that drive, you know, but everyone in my family is creative in ways that I'm not, which I think drove me crazy growing up because my sisters were dancers. I tried to do like tap dance in second grade, and my mom pulled me out because I never practiced and I couldn't, like, you know, get the little tap down. My dad is an amazing singer. I can't sing for crap. My mom's like, we had these paintings in my house growing up of all these oil, like pastel landscapes. All my mom had like painted these apparently, like Bob Ross over here. Not me. I can't paint for crap. There were all these different talents, and I never could figure out where I fit in, you know? I wanted to be artistic. I wanted to sing. I wanted to dance. I wanted to do all this stuff, but I didn't have the inborn talent they had. Yeah. Whatever reason, with food, I do. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why I cook the way that I do or where the inspiration originally came from, aside from my mom and the chef that trained me. But there's just a certain way I like stuff to taste. I'm pretty aggressive with my flavor. I would rather something to be a little bit more seasoned than under-seasoned and bland.
Yeah.
So when I put a dish together and I'm conceptualizing it or we're working on something, like, I want it to punch you. If it's garlic in the name, you're going to hit garlic. If it's volcanic, it's got to be spicy. It's got to hit on all these different things, right?
Yeah, I stay away from the volcanic.
Yeah. But it's got to deliver on the flavor at the end of the day, you know? So I think I like to take it all the way up to that edge, but then have enough restraint to not go over is the challenge and the trick for me every day. And then it was teaching these guys to look at food the way I look at it and to cook it the way that I would cook it. So that if they were to make a dish or I were to make it, hopefully you can't tell the difference between where it came from. Yeah. That's our goal every day.
That's why people come back.
That's our goal. You got to be consistent.
Consistency.
Yeah. And when you're doing it 100% from scratch every day, consistency, it's tricky. It's hard. But it's technique, it's discipline, it's doing the drills like you do as a fighter over and over because you need to build that muscle memory. Every time you're making the marinara sauce and pounding it with basil, you should visually know how much basil is going in there, how much pepper, what it should look like. Like, you should visually have cues after doing it so many times. Just like you should be able to look for when a person moves their arm a certain way, like, how am I going to attack it? Yeah. Or if they're throwing me a leg, what am I going to do? Like, what's my first attack? You know what I mean? It's the same thing in the kitchen. You're going to war every day. It's just in a different way. It's a different mindset and challenge.
And do you feel like you've drilled a bunch, like you're nonstop drilling still?
I had to, because I was a stressful mess when we first opened. Like, the first 6 months, I was having meltdowns and I was like losing it, dude. Yeah. I'll admit it. Honestly, I was. It was really, really hard to get up to speed.
Was it that you were successful right from, not successful, that's not, successful is a weird word to say, but like, or is it because you were already getting a bunch of people coming in? Is that what
it was always busy, but even when I was doing it on my own before we were here, it was busy and keeping me occupied all day. It was more the chaos of it. I really want to control my environment as much as I possibly can because I don't want to spiral into stress or anxiety. I have panic attacks and anxiety and all that stuff, right? So I know what I need in my environment to harness that, right? When we started doing phone orders, for instance, and we started doing the online stuff, when we would get in 4 or 5 orders in the beginning, it used to be really, really hard for me to deal with it because there was just so much going on all at one time. And then it's like, okay, we got to get these orders done. Everything's got to be on time. And I'm so competitive, like, I don't want to be a minute over the time that it's supposed to be ready. Yeah. Like, I want everything to be done. I've realized now, like, calm down, Turbo. Like, you don't have to be so crazy. And type A, right? Yeah. If it's done 5 minutes later, it's done 5 minutes later. But I didn't have a frame of reference then. So it was really hard to deal with being bombarded with the phone and the internet and then customers here and then the staff and making sure everything's being done because we weren't like as well trained. We weren't as well. We weren't running as well at the time. Everything was still new for us, you know? So it was really tough for me to get over that hump. But once I figured it out and once I got there, it's like everything slowed down and everything started to make sense. I started seeing everything in a different way, you know? So I think at the end of the day, if there's any lesson to be taken from like my story, literally you can wake up one day and have an idea and turn it into a full-on brick and mortar like business and have no experience in it. If you have the drive and the passion and the never quit to do it. And you just have to choose that there's going to be nothing else but this one thing. And I'm never going to stop until I make this happen, no matter what it takes. And it is so completely and totally possible. No matter what it is, I don't care. You can do it. If I could do this, I have zero background in this. And train a staff and get people to believe in me and to do this. Anybody can literally do it in anything. But it all comes down to belief and to what you're willing to sacrifice and how badly you want it. It sounds cliche, bro, but it's literally how you manifest and how you create things.
That's exactly this podcast. What you said right now is exactly why I started this thing, was to show people that anybody could do anything.
Right.
But it takes a certain type of work ethic And there's gonna be sacrifices.
Yeah.
Huge sacrifices.
Right.
It's awesome. Well, I love the idea. I love the food. I think I'm gonna be coming here a lot more than I should be.
We'll be happy to feed you, man.
But where, if you want to tell the people where, I'm gonna let them know in the description. But where are you guys located? How do people find you?
Yeah,
Order
so
online, all that stuff.
If you happen to be rolling through Gustine, we're at 495 5th Street. It's like right in the main part of town, right at the end of the block, so you can't miss it there. But easiest way is just on social. On Instagram, it's pasta_209, or on our website, you go to pasta209.com. You can order from there. It's got all the info on the menu and stuff like that. But we keep up mostly on Instagram. We post every day, all the specials, all the desserts, all the different things that we're doing, updates, events, stuff like that. That's
And
the
you
best
guys
place to
cater
find us.
too, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we do 20, 50, 200, doesn't matter. Like, we can handle it. It just depends on what the needs are.
Okay.
We can do it, yeah.
Awesome. Anything else you want to tell anybody?
Just like we said, dude, like, if I can do this and make it happen, like, literally, it can be done by anyone.
Yeah.
I've had a weird childhood growing up, but I'm not unique or specially gifted or like, there's nothing out of the ordinary that's different that makes me able to do it where you can't or anybody else can't. Like, anything, it can be done. I think what I learned from COVID and just everything that's been going on is that we waste so much time waiting on what we want to do and thinking ourselves to death about what we want to do. And I finally just made a decision to do it. And just that I would learn as I was doing it. And I gave myself permission to make mistakes. And I chose to focus on learning from failures and just go. And it was the best choice for me because I probably wouldn't have done it otherwise unless I got forced into it, you know. But I'm so happy I did. Sometimes the things that we think are failures and the things that are holding us back and the things that aren't going the way we want, we don't realize how they turn out in the future for us and how it actually becomes everything that we're asking for, everything that we're trying to manifest. It's just we want it our way and we want it a certain way, and we don't allow for things to happen and to come to us. So I had to slow down and just be thankful and grateful and let things happen. What else can you do? You know what I mean?
Then you got Pasta 209.
I got Pasta 209.
Hey, thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Jason. Check out the Pasta 209, guys. Bread bowls.
Balls.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah,
I
dude.
appreciate it.
It's nice to meet you, man.